Hi, this is Cliff Bramble. I am here to talk to you about the book, The Business Side of Restaurants. I'm going over chapter 14, which is sales mix cost and cost of products or cost of goods. And I'd like to say welcome to my intro of the book and this particular chapter. This book is now available on Amazon.com, and you can purchase the paperback there. The PDF is at hungryhospitality.com. If you want to go there, and we have the hardcover coming out at the end of September, which will be available on Amazon as well. So this intro is really meant to give you an overview of what is going on this particular chapter and what I was thinking when I really made the book. This particular one is a longer chapter than normal, than some of the other ones, but most importantly, the reason is it has to do with the sales and the sales mix and the costs. Really, when you look at the different items that are sold in the restaurant, every one costs you a different amount. You just have to come up with a very good average of whether it's in the front of the house or the back of the house. The back of the house is the most challenging way to come up with all the pricing. Front of the house is more manageable, simply because when you have wine bottles, those are set prices. When you have beer, that's a set price. But when you have liquor and their individual costs, it's similar to how the kitchen prices their menu items as well. You have to make sure that they are costed out correctly, so they're priced correctly as well. So this starts on page 135, and 136 talks about the sales mixtures, analyzing food costs and also the prices. Got the book right over here for you. Talks about purchasing of the food. And again, I talked about that prior, I touched base on it one or two chapters before about the inventory. And this has also information about that as well, as far as paying attention to it. In addition to that, it talks about the food cost, about how much it's going to cost you, but more importantly is paying attention to it and knowing what's going on a quarterly basis, or in the spring, summer, fall, whatever it is on the pricing. Because if you're not paying attention to it and all the prices go up and your menus don't get reprinted with a new price, your cost of sales go up as well. Now, in addition to that, I talk about the sales mix, and that's very important, is paying attention to your menu sales mix and running reports on a daily basis and a shift-by-shift basis, so it helps you understand what you're selling. But more importantly, it also tells you what the customers are buying and what they want, because there's a difference between what they want on the menu and what maybe the manager in the front of the house or the chef in the back of the house is actually placing on the menu. Give the guests what they want. That's what they want. Don't give them what the chef wants to cook, or don't give them that big old bottle of three. Don't make a wine list that has $300 of bottles everywhere when you're in an area or a segment that most of the bottles are between $40 and $60. Paying attention to that is very important. That talks about this in the book. Talk about the beverage costs. Also talk about the prime cost in here, one of the most important areas of cost that you can look at in your restaurant, and paying attention to that comes down to the cost of goods sold and your labor, two highly important areas in a restaurant. Talk about the liquor cost in this particular one. And I also talk about a real life story on here when I went to a specific table, and I thought I was going to get clocked that night, but I didn't, fortunately. I'll tell you, you're going to have to read the chapter to see exactly what happened. It was very interesting. And that does happen from time to time. So there's a lot in this chapter. There's a good amount of pages in it, but hopefully you'll learn a lot, and it'll help you also manage your restaurant. And hopefully if you're a student, it'll help you learn more as well. Or if you're opening up a restaurant, this is a good chapter to learn, because you may have to read it 2 or 3 times and go back it all the time. The goal with this book is to have one book in every restaurant. If you can help me, if you already have a book, buy a book for your friend, because you know what? It's going to help them as well. And it'll probably give them a lot of answers that they need to know, especially running a restaurant, rather than beating around the bush, reading 50 different books. They can read this very simply and realize that, hey, this is the way really it should be done. So hopefully enjoy it, and we'll see you on the next chapter.